So the eighth chakra is who we are in between incarnations, in between births. And let me go a little bit deeper into this. 100 years ago, the big debate in science was whether the electron was a particle or a wave. Because if you shot an electron at a steel plate, it would go through a single hole, like a bullet. But if there were 3 holes in the plate, or 3 slits, it would go through all 3 of them like a wave, like an ocean wave. And the physicists were debating, is it a particle or is it a wave, a field? Is it a particle or is it a field? And then they discovered that it was both, that it had a particle state and it had a field state. We also have a particle state, which is this body, and we have a field state. The field state is a state that we will occupy once we leave this particle state behind. And whereas the particle state, our body, is somewhere all the time, the field is everywhere. Because the field extends to the farthest reaches of the universe. It simply keeps diminishing in intensity. And this is who we become. We enter into our field state. And one time I asked the same old medicine woman, she was a fierce 90-year-old woman that had the spirit and the heart of a 30-year-old. I asked her, what's the object of all of this shamanic teaching? I mean, what's the purpose of it? And she said to me, Alberto, the object of the medicine teachings is to learn how to get out of this life alive. And that caught my attention. That seemed like a pretty interesting goal to have for this training. How do you get out of this life alive? She said, because at the moment of death, when you enter into the field state, it's an abrupt event, it's shocking. You leave the physical body behind and you lose consciousness. You forget who you are. And you go into this nightmare, many people do, that they can't wake up from. They don't know that they're dead. You're caught in one of the bardos of Buddhism or one of the purgatories of Christianity. So the object is to learn how to leave our particle state behind and become a field, enter the field state. And we can begin to practice that today, now. And later on, I'm going to share with you a technique for doing this. Because you really don't want to wait until you leave your body behind for the last time to learn the way back home to the spirit world. That's not a good time to be asking for directions. You really want to do it now. And we'll come to that in a little while. What the illumination process does is that it clears the imprints of trauma, so that when you do enter the field state, you're clean, you're clear. You do not have any I love yous or any I forgive yous that go unsaid. You are complete. You're ready for infinity. Because the eighth chakra that we spoke about is this radiant orb above the head that you see depicted around the Christ or around the Buddha. And this orb of light exists in infinity, outside of time, but it manifests in time, which is this physical body that we have. We, in effect, are the product of this eighth chakra. And eventually, when we are able to bring our full identity to our luminous self, then we'll have the option of returning or not, or residing in timelessness, in infinity. In the Amazon, the legends say that when you die, you must walk across the back of the jaguar, of the rainbow jaguar, to go back to the world of spirit. And the rainbow jaguar is the rainbow. So you must walk over the rainbow to go back home. And to walk over the rainbow, you have to be very light. You cannot have a lot of baggage, or you'll go right through the rainbow into the hell realms. So you must go very, very light, very lightly. The things that bring this heaviness are the trauma that we have encoded in our luminous energy field. And this is the way it works. When you experience trauma, and remember that a lot of the trauma that we've experienced was when we were in our mother's belly, because the stress hormones, the stress chemicals go right through the placental barrier, and they begin to inform us and to create neural networks, pathways in our brain through which we interpret reality.